Right now at 5, Joplin police respond to a rise in thefts and damages on air conditioning units.
And temperatures continuing to warm across the area as we get closer to normal, plus maybe a pop-up shower too. We'll look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, the sole provider of blood in the Ozarks calls their supply critically low.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's now Tuesday here in the 4 states,
Yes.
and it was a little bit on the muggy side yesterday.
A bit.
But not too bad.
It's summer,
great,
it's
but
July.
Not bad. It is, and we're going to be getting back to July standards, unfortunately. And then, as we look down the road, we may go considerably above July standards once again. We knew we'd have to pay for this period of nice weather.
Yes, we did.
And unfortunately, payment is coming soon. But thankfully, it's not today. So let's get you out the door on a positive note, starting with a look outside from our camera on top of the Cornell Complex in downtown Joplin. And as you can see, we're looking pretty good. Got clear skies. We do have some patchy fog out there, not nearly as much as what we had yesterday. Our camera 7th at range line also looking fairly good this morning as well. And we're going to head down south to the MoDOT camera at 20th and range line, and it's got a great shot of the road. And the road is looking good, and that's always a plus. There's no snow on it, and we're not going to have to worry about any snow on that road for quite some time. But as you can see, like yesterday, we do have some reduced visibilities, not quite in the same locations, but still the I-49 corridor and parts of the 69 corridor as well. Definitely some reduced visibilities here and there. So just again, like yesterday, use your low beams, not your high beams, and be prepared to slow down and make sure you got time to get where you're going today. As we head into the afternoon, we're looking at partly cloudy skies, and as you see, after about 3, so let's say between about 3 and 7, we could see an isolated pop-up storm or two out there, but also, as you can see, anything we do get is going to be very isolated across the area. The majority of us will remain dry. Quick look outside. We are sitting at 65 in Joplin, 64 in Pittsburgh. Not seeing any thick fog yet on the KDOT camera there. Still a little bit on the dark side. Around the region, temperatures, again, cool, below normal for most of us, but like yesterday as well, low, mid, and upper 60s to get our Tuesday underway. We're looking at highs, once again, a little warmer than yesterday, still technically below normal as we go right around the mid 80s. We'll have those isolated pop-up thunderstorm chances out there this afternoon into the early evening hours. Temperatures again do continue to climb. We'll get back to normal, and then we may go a little above that. We'll have details in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, the Community Blood Center of the Ozarks is positive the need for blood donations right now is critical. The CBCO is the sole provider of blood to hospital patients across the Ozarks, and it's in emergency need of all blood types. They have reported a historic low in donations and currently have less than 1 day supply available.
Being the sole supplier for 45 hospitals, we need to collect about 200 to 220 donations a day to ensure that we have an adequate supply for the hospital's inventory. So when we see numbers like this, historically low numbers, that really causes a strain on the hospitals to ensure that we've got the appropriate amount of blood on the shelves for those patients in those local hospitals.
Eligible donors are encouraged to give immediately. All donors in July will receive a plush Chillin' in the Ozarks beach towel while supplies last. To avoid wait times, appointments are strongly encouraged. To schedule an appointment, you can go to cbco.org. A personal finance website, Wallet Hub, is out with its state-by-state rankings of the best school systems in the country, including Washington, D.C. The 4 states, however, on the list are on the wrong side of the list, rather. The highest rated of the 4 is Arkansas, coming in at 31. Then Kansas and Missouri are back-to-back at 37 and 38 respectively. And Oklahoma is second to last, coming in at 50. The list was made using 32 metrics, including student performance, funding, safety, and class size. You can find the full list on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. KDOT in Southeast Kansas is hosting an upcoming public meeting concerning the future of US 69 in Crawford County. KDOT says the focus of the meetings will be on the intersection of US 69 and K103 in Cherokee County. The meeting is a follow-up to a study conducted by the department. 2 meetings will take place today. The first one at the Pittsburgh Auditorium from 11 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. Then a later meeting takes place from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Pittsburgh High School. We have a complete list of upcoming meetings on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. The Joplin Police Department warns the public to be aware of an increase in vandalism to air conditioners. These are looking to take the copper metal from the AC unit and get money for it. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more.
Joplin Police Department is warning the public of an increase in vandalism to air conditioners. They're not just trying to steal the AC unit, but the copper metal in it.
Fortunately, thieves see that as an easy target to go in and damage those, cut piping, can remove it and then take it in and turn it in for scrap.
Joplin Paint Center was a victim of vandalism to their AC unit. Nancy Hussong is their store manager, and when she walked into work, she noticed something was off.
And it just seemed awfully quiet in here. I happened to walk past the air conditioning thermostat, and I noticed that there was no power to it. I was telling my boss, it seemed a little weird, so he went out and looked at the units and noticed that they were cut open and just didn't look right.
Hussong says the vandalism cost the business a lot. They had to pay for replacements, and they struggled through the heat.
In here, it happened to be right before the hottest few days that we just had, over 100 degrees, so it got up to 95 in here, so it was pretty excruciating in here.
Joplin Paint Center now has invested in extra security systems to prevent something like this from happening again.
Got new lighting out there. We've got security going into our actual units. That way, as soon as power is cut to them, it'll trip the alarm system. Definitely something other businesses should look into for future, could save them thousands.
Captain William Davis reminds people to be extra aware of their surroundings and secure their AC units. He says to reach out to the police department if you see anything suspicious. Reporting in Joplin, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Captain Davis recommends security cameras and to lock fences to avoid AC vandalism. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. The U.S. basketball team goes down to the wire in its final exhibition before the Olympics. We have the details. Plus, Slovakia finally received the first 2 of 14 new F-16 military jets from the United States. And we have a warm and mostly sunny day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
College football season begins in just over a month. Missouri Southern and Pittsburgh State both begin their 2024 football seasons in week 0, which gives D2 teams the ability to play a full 11-game schedule and include a bye week. Later today, we'll hear from Missouri Southern, Pittsburgh State, and the rest of the MIAA Conference for the first time since last season. The 2024 edition of MIAA Media Day takes place in downtown Kansas City. MIAA Commissioner Mike Racy is the first one to speak in the morning. Pittsburgh State will be represented by first-year head coach Tom Anthony, along with a couple two-time captains, fifth-year senior quarterback Chad Dodson, and sixth-year All-American linebacker Jack Barkley. Missouri Southern will bring head coach Atiba Bradley, senior wide receiver Akeem Gilmore, and redshirt junior linebacker Zach Bergman. Throughout the entire day, we'll have complete coverage on Facebook, X, and the sports page on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Now, switching gears to Major League Baseball, the St. Louis Cardinals took 2 out of 3 from the Braves in Atlanta over the weekend. Last night, they began another road trip, this time within the NL Central Division. Cardinals lose the first game of their series to the Pirates in Pittsburgh. Second baseman Nolan Gorman accounts for the only St. Louis run. It comes on a solo home run in the 5th inning. Cardinals reliever John King picks up the loss on the mound. These two teams see each other again tonight. The Royals had a good weekend as well. They swept the Chicago White Sox by a combined score of 17-3. Last night, Kansas City begins a new series at Kauffman Stadium against a playoff contender. The Royals win Game 1 of their series against the Diamondbacks, the final score of 10-4. Bobby Witt Jr. finishes a single away from the cycle. He hit a double, triple, home run, but struck out swinging in his final at-bat. Team USA finishes its pre-Olympic showcase yesterday, taking on Germany in London. Germany won the 2023 FIBA World Cup and hung around in this one. They would lead the United States by 3 entering the fourth quarter, but down the stretch, U.S. turns to LeBron James, down by 1 with under 4 minutes remaining. LeBron gives the U.S. the lead with a lefty layup. Next possession, LeBron goes to the paint again. He stretches the lead to 3. Germany not giving up. Get this alley-oop from Dennis Schroeder to Daniel Tice, cuts the lead back down to 1. United States stay with what's worked. LeBron works his way inside and scores 2 more to put this one out of reach. Final score is 92-88. LeBron finishes with a game-high 20 points. Team USA goes 5-0 in the Olympic showcase. Still to come, I have some tips and tricks on how to keep kids safe on social media. And unfortunately, the heat will begin to return in the long-range forecast. We'll look at all those details for you when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:16 now on this Tuesday morning, and we are starting with a live look from our camera downtown Joplin on top of the Cornell complex. Winds are relatively calm out there, and so is the weather across the area as well, relatively calm. Our camera 7th and range line looking pretty good as well, and we'll head down to 20th and range line. Again, roads relatively empty for now, but you know they're going to fill back up. And the KDOT camera on 69 right there at Kansas Crossing looking pretty good as well. It's a little too dark to see if we're dealing with any dense fog on the highway itself, but the fog tracker is still showing at least some patchy fog here and there. Joplin, Carthage, Anderson, and Grove with the more significantly reduced visibility. Still not terrible, but nonetheless, you do want to slow down out there this morning. Like yesterday, use your low beams, not your high beams. Give yourself time to get where you're going. Just be prepared to run into some possible patchy, dense fog. All right, heading into the afternoon, though, we'll have an opportunity. And I'm going to step all the way over just so you can see how isolated the opportunities for a shower or pop-up storm will be. The better chances, which as you can see also are quite low, are going to be between about 3 and 7. The majority of us, though, are going to remain dry, and we're going to see this trend kind of continue. As our temperatures increase, humidity levels are up a bit. It's going to be a bit on the muggy side, and in almost the same time frame as we head into our Wednesday, we are looking at that possibility of an isolated pop-up shower or storm, and believe it or not, that will also repeat once again as we head into our Thursday across the area as well, and once again almost in the exact same time frame between 3 and 7. Good heating of the day, giving us an opportunity for a pop-up shower or storm. All right, nothing severe expected, by the way, at this point either. Just a little bit of rain here and there. 65 in Joplin. North breeze is at 3. Temperatures outside looking pretty good. Like yesterday, it's the full gambit of 60s just about. We've got low, mid, and upper 60s to start the day, so another below average start. Highs are a little warmer today, but we're still below normal. Sunny skies through the morning, 80 by 11 o'clock. We're looking at highs in the mid, maybe some upper 80s here and there. We'll see some extra clouds by this afternoon, have that opportunity for a pop-up shower or storm. Then we'll head into the evening. Those pop-up shower storm chances will begin to wind down. Skies clear back out. We're still technically below normal, but remember, our average low is about 70. We're getting a lot closer to that out there. Our average high about 90, 91. Our average high is getting closer to that. Now, unfortunately, because the weather has been so kind to us, Mother Nature is going to want some payment for that. So our temperatures, and you can see it behind me here, what I'm talking about, are going to start to increase. Now, initially, heading through the rest of this week and into the weekend, temperatures are hot, but they're average. I mean, hold on to pop-up storm chances all the way through Saturday. Then we start to go a little above normal by Sunday, and as we head into next week, there's that payment plan that Mother Nature's putting us on as we go back to the triple digits by the second half of next week. That's a check of your forecast. We're back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning. COVID is back and healthcare providers are now working with the CDC to make sure this new surge doesn't turn into another full-blown pandemic. Madison Scarpino has more from New York.
A COVID summer surge is now underway in the U.S., with new cases spiking across the country. The CDC reports at least 7 states are experiencing what it calls very high COVID levels. And in the past week, the testing positivity rate is up 11% from this time last year, with COVID-related ER visits rising 1.3%. It's being largely driven by a COVID variant known as FLIRT, which is now responsible for more than half of all new cases. It's highly transmissible, but the good news, its symptoms appear to be less severe.
Some of the same symptoms that, previous versions or mutations of COVID have had, with nasal congestion, sore throat, fever, not as much cough, which kind of throws people off.
Doctors and public health officials are also quick to point out this surge is extremely mild compared to those we've seen before. And while hospitalizations are up slightly, the majority of those patients are either elderly or have underlying medical conditions.
We're certainly not hitting numbers that we did in 2020 and 2021. And I think that the biggest concern is really around people that are going to get severe illness or potentially die, right? And that's really always been the concern.
The CDC is now organizing a new push to get folks up to date on their vaccines, calling it the best way to stay ahead of the next COVID strain.
It's important that we track which variants are circulating and we update our vaccines accordingly.
And if you're feeling sick, experts recommend testing daily for 5 days. And in the meantime, wear a mask.
A new report about how to keep kids safe online was released yesterday by a White House task force. The report recommends open communication about social media. Parents are encouraged to set up a family media plan to set their expectations with their kids about what they can watch and how long they can be on their devices. In the U.S., an estimated 95% of teens and 40% of kids ages 8 to 12 use some form of social media. The White House Task Force provides a guideline on how to talk to kids about their social media use that includes asking questions about whether children have checked the correct privacy settings. The report also includes handouts for parents that pediatricians can distribute at well visits to help navigate technology usage. Extreme heat can be dangerous for anyone, but people who are pregnant are especially vulnerable. Exposure to high temperatures can not only harm them, but can also lead to complications with the pregnancy. Mandy Gaither talks to an OBGYN about what every pregnant person should know during a heat wave.
Extreme heat and pregnancy. It's not just uncomfortable, but also potentially dangerous.
Pregnant women are at increased risk of heat exhaustion and heat stroke due to the fact that there's a lot of physiologic changes that causes differences in blood flow in their bodies.
Dr. Catherine Caponero, an OBGYN with Cleveland Clinic, says not only can extreme heat be harmful to the person who's pregnant, it can also cause complications for the developing fetus.
So trying your best to do all that you can in your control in order to stay cool and to keep your body healthy is really important for your pregnancy.
To stay safe in the heat, Caponero says try to stay inside during the hottest times of the day. If you do go out, wear light-colored clothing in layers to help keep you as cool as possible. Check the air quality index. Breathing polluted air can cause harm to pregnant people. And finally, stay hydrated. Caponero recommends consuming between 8 and 12 glasses of water a day.
A lot of pregnant women can't tolerate straight water, so sometimes flavoring that with fruits or even a splash of juice can be really helpful.
Since you know your body best, Caponero says if something doesn't feel right in the summer heat, talk to a doctor.
Making sure that you are watching yourself, taking care of yourself, and listening to your body is one of the best things that you can do as a pregnant patient.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The CDC says some prescribed medications, including antihistamines, can also make pregnant patients more sensitive to the heat. The agency says to be aware of that and talk to a doctor about any concerns. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Well, we've got a pretty good start to the day out there. Temperatures still below average, but warmer weather on the way. The latest on your forecast when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, local first responders give residents a reminder about pedestrian safety tips.
And we've got some patchy fog across the area. Otherwise, another warm day and maybe an isolated shower or storm. We'll take a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, we take a look back on the Joplin Park Ranger program 1 year later.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's Tuesday here in the 4 states. Well, that's really about it. It's Tuesday.
You always like Tuesday.
Well,
you always think it's Tuesday.
It's not Monday though, and that's the best part about Tuesday.
It really is.
It's not Monday. So that's always a good thing. Not that Mondays are bad. We've had good Mondays.
Yeah, some days they feel like a Monday for sure.
Oh,
but,
absolutely. Yeah, you have those Mondays that are definitely Monday. And they have some of those Mondays that are more like a Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know, not bad at all. Hopefully this Monday was good to you. Yeah. Hopefully Tuesday's even better. Yes. And we are going to start to warm up. It's a gradual warm up, but we're getting back to normal across the area. And you probably noticed yesterday a little bit muggier outside as well.
Yeah, just a bit.
Just a bit. And it's going to be that way again today. Let's start with a look outside from our camera at 7th and Range Line in Joplin. We're looking pretty good so far. Again, we got some patchy fog like yesterday across the area. MoDOT camera 32nd and Range Line looking fairly good as well. It's looking just about due south. And a fog tracker, not exactly the same locations, but pretty close in terms of locations with some reduced visibility. So I-49 all the way down to the Arkansas state line, parts of I-44, 69, 60. So again, like yesterday as well, make sure you use your low beams, not your high beams. And fog lights, if you've got them, just slow down. Make sure you give yourself time to get where you're going out there in case you run into some pretty dense fog here and there. As we head into the afternoon on the future track, we'll have partly cloudy skies and you see very brief flare-ups of maybe an isolated shower or thunderstorm. The majority of us, though, will remain dry, but we're going to deal with the humidity from that. 65 in Joplin, 64 in Pittsburgh. Temperatures once again below normal. We're all into the 60s this morning, low, mid, and upper. And then we're going to start to see again temperatures getting closer to normal, and that starts today. We're going to see a few more mid, upper 80s for our highs. We'll have the clouds increasing just a bit this afternoon, again maybe in pop-up shower or storm here or there. Temperatures continue to climb as we head into the weekend, and that dangerous heat looks to make a return as well. We'll break down the details in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon. Well, it only takes a split second for something to go wrong crossing the street. In order to minimize the risk, the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office wants to share some safety tips for pedestrians of all ages, but especially children. They say stay alert and don't focus on electronic devices. Make eye contact with the drivers if entering traffic and use a crosswalk when possible to cross the street.
Important to realize that people are going to work, trying to get their morning commute, get their kids to school and get to work as kids are trying to walk and ride their bikes to school. So I see many times out that kids are piled up at the crosswalk and wait for someone to wave them across the road before they start because, you know, they're young and they're nervous. So it's important to teach your kids once they get to the crosswalk and the cars stop, if there's a stop sign, when the car stops, they have now the right of way.
We have even more safety tips for pedestrians on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. A Pitt State's Nature Research Program yesterday hosted an animal adaptions presentation at the May Leslie Community Center in Chetopa. The presenter brought along some friendly creatures like snakes and salamanders to help inform the kids about different forms of adaptation in animals. The kids got an up-close and personal look at these critters and even got a chance to touch them.
I love to provide the community, especially children, with the opportunity to learn about these animals, and not only learn about these animals, but get to interact with these animals. They get to touch some of these animals and even get through some of the fears that they may have with snakes or maybe with insects.
This free educational program travels the area teaching children about animals and conservation methods at public schools and libraries. Well, it's been more than 1 year since the city of Joplin created its Park Ranger program. The program was created when the city received feedback that community members were concerned about safety. The Rangers are intended to be a visible presence in the park, helping to deter acts such as vandalism and other illegal activities. According to city officials, they act as an alternative to police in many situations at the parks. Park rangers say it's rewarding to be able to give back to their community by helping to improve the parks.
You know, vandalism is down a lot, property damage is down quite a bit. You know, the one thing, you know, it's outdoors, there's a lot of trash cans, you know, seems that people sometimes don't always get their trash thrown away, but I also see a lot of people when they come in, they'll always grab a piece or two, throw it in the trash can, so things are definitely getting better.
If you have a problem or concern about a city park, you can submit a comment on the City of Joplin's website. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Taiwan kicks off its annual war games aimed at defending itself against a possible invasion. Plus, Israeli Prime Minister is preparing to seek more support from U.S. members of Congress. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch, the country is still facing major flight delays after last week's global tech outage stretched into the weekend. Nate Foy has the latest details.
The flightmare continues following Friday's massive global software glitch.
I feel awful for everybody whose flights are getting canceled. People going to things like funerals or stuff of that situation. This is unacceptable.
Delta Airlines, one of the most affected over the weekend, canceled more than 600 additional flights Monday morning. The airline accounted for roughly half of the 7,000 U.S. flights canceled between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, marking one of the worst travel weekends of the year. Delta's CEO says, quote, "Our teams have been working around the clock to recover and restore full functionality." The tech meltdown came during the busiest travel weekend of the summer for Delta, with flights already more than 90% full. Meanwhile, multiple financial institutions, government entities, and corporations around the globe also reported issues. In the U.S., some hospitals and school districts reported impacts, and some courthouses either closed or delayed trial proceedings. In the UK, the impacts are similar.
The doctors answer more or less immediately, and so I went online on the app, and it said there was a computer outage.
Now healthcare systems in the UK are working to resolve disruptions.
We've not actually been able to manage how we would normally manage incoming patient demands.
Doctors' offices and pharmacies in the UK have now resorted to using pen and paper to refill prescriptions and schedule new appointments.
American athletes gearing up for the Summer Olympics in Paris, with the kickoff to the 2024 Summer Olympics just days away. Many athletes competing in the games are not only looking forward to the competition, but they say they're also hoping to take in all the city has to offer, from the food, culture, and history while they're in town. The 2024 Summer Olympics runs from July 26th until August 11th. Yesterday, Slovakia received the first 2 of 14 new F-16 military jets from the United States. The delivery had to be pushed back 2 years due to the coronavirus pandemic and a lack of chips. President Peter Pellegrini praised the arrival of the F-16s at the Kuchinian Air Base in western Slovakia, saying the warplanes will significantly contribute to the increase of defense capabilities of our country. The rest of the jets will be delivered over the course of the next 2 years. Well, Taiwan is on the ready as it conducts military drills. Taiwan kicked off its annual war games yesterday, aimed at defending itself against a possible China invasion. Taiwan's defense ministry released a video of Air Force fighter jets at the Hualien Air Base on the island's east coast, which has hangars cut out of the side of a mountain to protect the aircraft from an aerial attack. Live fire drills are also taking place on Taiwan's outlying islands, and the Hanquan exercises, which run for 5 days, are the biggest military exercises in Taiwan and have been held since 1984. As the Israel-Hamas war continues escalating overseas, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is preparing to seek more support from U.S. members of Congress. His upcoming remarks come at a time when the American political landscape and the race for the White House has undergone a massive shift. Kevin Cork is in Washington with the latest.
A series of black fences bolstered by concrete barriers and a ramped-up police presence. lingering outside Washington, D.C.'s Watergate Hotel as security heightens across the Capitol ahead of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's Wednesday address to Congress.
Israel remains America's indispensable and strong ally.
Netanyahu's speech comes at a critical time, with fighting in the Israeli-Hamas war raging on for 9 months now, and Joe Biden having dropped out of the presidential race. Netanyahu will look to strengthen U.S. support for the conflict as a ceasefire deal remains on shaky ground. But with the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry reporting the Palestinian death toll now at more than 39,000, anti-war demonstrations are already popping up outside the White House. This comes as Israeli forces on Monday ordered hundreds of displaced people in southern Gaza to evacuate a designated humanitarian zone.
On the contrary, we feel that the United States is a partner in the assault.
Netanyahu still plans to meet with President Biden this week, who is recovering from COVID-19. He's also planning to meet with Vice President Kamala Harris as she seeks her party's nomination for the White House.
I've got 6 months left in my presidency. I'm determined to get as much done as I possibly can, both foreign policy and domestic policy.
A U.S. official tells Fox President Biden expects to meet with Netanyahu on Thursday.
That's a look at World Watch. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:45 now on this Tuesday morning. That was a live look from our camera downtown Joplin on the Cornell Complex, 7th and Range Line. We're looking good as well out there, and we head to 32nd and Range Line, also looking fairly good. And as we head into Kansas, KDOT camera 69 Kansas crossing. Now we're getting a little more daylight. You can see there is definitely some fog out there, and the fog tracker also gives us an idea as where some of that is. So Grove now down just under 3 miles of visibility. So I-49, 44, 60, 69. You want to make sure you're slowing down, taking your time. Use your low beams, not your high beams. You know the drill. Make sure you give yourself time to get where you're going. Watch out for some of that patchy, dense fog. No dense fog advisories out there, but still some patchy, dense fog here and there. Future track, not a lot to show other than the possibility of an isolated pop-up shower or storm. Best timing is going to be between 3 and 7, but as you can see, whatever we get is going to be extraordinarily isolated out there. The majority of us won't see a thing. And we're going to have this pattern repeat for the next several days, and at least over the next 48 hours, we're going to see that pattern repeat in almost the same time frame. So here we go on the Wednesday, once again, roughly between 3 and 7, an opportunity for an isolated pop-up shower or storm. And we're going to continue to warm up as well. Temperatures are going to start getting closer to normal, which means it's going to start to get a little hotter. And of course, with pop-up storm chances, you know what they need. They need that humidity, they need that moisture, so it's going to get a little muggy as well. Here we are Thursday, 3 o'clock. Once again, between 3 and 7, another opportunity for a pop-up shower or storm. Right now in Joplin, skies are clear, 65. The airport's reporting visibility at 4 miles, with north breeze at 3. Temperatures, again, below normal across the region, in the 60s like yesterday. Low, mid, upper 60s. Of course, a little warmer the further south you go. We get our morning underway. Sunny skies. Fog will burn off again, but like yesterday, about 8 o'clock or so. It'll be a little warmer, too. 80 by 11 o'clock. And as we head into the afternoon, highs a little warmer, mid-upper 80s, and it's going to be a bit muggy out there with those isolated pop-up storm chances. Skies will begin to clear later this evening as those chances wrap up, and we'll go clear overnight, upper 60s, still below normal technically, but it doesn't last much longer. We start to get back to normal starting tomorrow. Pop-up storm chances through Saturday. Temperatures about average, so hot but average, low 90s. Then as we head into next week, unfortunately, that dangerous heat looks to make a return as we start to see the triple digits by next Wednesday and Thursday. That's a check of your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
A new streaming series looks not only at food, but the people and places well-known ingredients originate from. Rick Damagella has a preview.
Food is never just food. It's a fundamental thread that defines us, connects us, and shapes our world.
That's the core concept behind Omnivore, presented by Chef Rene Redzepi.
Behind each bite, there's always something bigger at work.
Omnivore is about 8 ingredients,
through which we sort of try to tell the story of the world, some of our past, even, where we're going. We try to do it with respect and dedication and care, like you'd typically see in a great nature show like Planet Earth.
When Renee first called me to talk about making a television show, he was insistent that he didn't want this to be his journey. He wasn't going to be in front of the camera guiding us from one restaurant to the next. And I had come from working with Anthony Bourdain, and so really loved and respected what he did, but nobody did it better. And I felt like this was a chance to do something new.
For hundreds of years, disparate cultures across the globe have been pounding and pureeing chiles into flavor enhancers.
The series' first episode looks at the ingredient behind many of our favorite fiery foods, one that does not come naturally to the acclaimed Danish chef.
Chile is more present in the cooking, although we don't have tradition for chiles in the Scandinavias. I mean, to put it mildly, the spiciest thing I think Danes grow up with is like horseradish. But we grow it, and it's a part of our cuisine now. It's here, and it's actually helping us become better.
Food is never just food. It's who we are.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella. Some SoCal cops foiled a crime in real time by randomly spotting a suspect breaking into a vehicle using an aerial drone that just happened to be flying by. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Watch a suspected car thief get caught red-handed by a police aerial drone and taken down from up above. According to the Santa Monica Police, the department was using their drone to survey beach crowds near the Santa Monica Pier when the operator spotted some suspicious activity, a man seemingly casing cars in a parking lot. The drone zeroes in just in time to see the man pull out a pair of tools and crack into a parked SUV. The department said the drone operator relayed the activity to dispatch, and a pair of black and whites were able to respond immediately, halting the suspect in his tracks thanks to some high-tech justice from above. From drone operators doing their duty to fake coyotes on duty. The football folks at San Jose State had to deploy these decoys to deal with a mounting goose poop problem on their field. Assistant Athletic Director Garrett Wolf, how funny is that, says they came up with the idea after having to pick up bags of the stuff before every practice.
I walked back into the office after practice and said I am never doing that again.
So now a pair of plastic predators are on patrol, keeping the befouling foul at bay, and organizers say for the most part, they're getting the dirty work done. From keeping clean using lean, mean figurines on the green to red. Big Red. That's the nickname of this mulleted Maine teen, hoping his stunning crimson plumage will bring him home the National Mullet Champ title. Oh, it's a thing, all right. Elliot Coleman is one of 32 teen finalists collecting online votes in the USA Mullet Championships on mulletchamp.com, where, like his impressive hair, he's hoping the voters are behind him. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
We'll be right back. A bear in California is caught red-pawed trying to steal some food from a garbage bin. A warning to home and business owners to secure the lids of their garbage cans, or else a hungry bear like this one might find its way inside. The footage taken from a local Fox photographer shows the animal working tirelessly to get inside of the can, but reportedly looked disappointed after only finding a few scraps. The bear was spotted in La Canada, California, off of the Angeles Crest Highway. Well, I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream, vanilla ice cream, that is. Today is National Vanilla Ice Cream Day, so grab a spoon or cone and indulge in a scoop or two. While vanilla might sound, well, vanilla, you can think again. Vanilla bean, a French vanilla, Neapolitan, and dozens of other flavors just wouldn't be the same without the traditional treat. You can dress it up with sprinkles, top it with hot fudge, or add it to a milkshake. So just remember, there is nothing plain vanilla about vanilla ice cream.
And it makes for great root beer floats, too. Absolutely does. And as the temperatures warm up, you may want some ice cream because it's going to start to get hot over the next several days. Sunny skies through the morning hours, about 80 by 11. We're going to see that warming trend continue. Mid-upper 80s today, so still technically most of us below normal. But this is the last below normal day we're expecting. Could see an isolated pop-up storm or two between 3 and 7. The majority of us will remain dry and muggy as well out there. Clear skies through the evening and overnight hours, falling back into the upper 60s. And then we look down the road a little further, and that's when things start to get a little unpleasant. So we're going to hang on to average temperatures over the next few days. We're going to start to go in the low 90s. It's going to be hot, muggy, got those pop-up storm chances. That's why it's going to be a bit on the muggy side. Then as we get into next week, temperatures begin to climb. Now we're talking mid-upper 90s. Dangerous heat looks to return next week as we see the return of triple digits. That's a check of your forecast. We're back with more right after this.